Alright everyone, it's time to talk about the 2024 election, the importance thereof actually. Link in the description to the Real Clear polling aggregate. It's a rolling aggregate, so it updates every single day. Well, actually hour by hour technically, and you should pay attention to it. We've got new polling with regards to the Trump v. Biden race. And it's about as expected. Again, Trump maintains a slight edge. He has been for months now. When Biden tacks up, it seems that Trump tacks up at the same time. I have a feeling that that's because of polls that only take into account those two candidates. They don't take into account any third partyists. They don't take into account necessarily undecided voters. What I'm looking at is that Trump is at the advantage. He's tacking about a point ahead of Joe Biden, and he has been doing this consistently. If it were just a one-off period, then I would discount it. I wouldn't consider it to be meaningful at all. I wouldn't consider it to be meaningful because it would be, one little messy spot in the aggregate. When it happens, though, for months and months and months, when those two numbers strongly correlate to that aggregate over and over again in most of the polls, when most of them say that Donald Trump is about a point ahead of Joe Biden, then it becomes meaningful. You're getting a scattershot of polls over time. I wish we had even more of them, but we take what we can get. I believe that Donald Trump is going to be reelected. I genuinely believe that. I don't think that there are enough ballot printers in the world to overcome what I see as an organic reaction partially to his his lawfare problem. I think that part of it is that he's been persecuted to the point where they've exhausted all their ammunition, and people are sort of seeing it for how it is, and they're understanding, oh shit, that could be me. This is a former president of the United States. He's worth billions of dollars, and yet he's still being legally persecuted. I consider this the ultimate presidential race. Let me make my pitch here. In 2000, which is the first race that I can really speak about, yes, I was there for the races before, like 96 or whatever it is, etc., but I don't have as much of a memory recall of that because I was a little kid. I was too busy playing with Playmobiles and Legos and stuff like that. First election that I really gauged at all was the 2000 election. I expected Bush to win, and indeed he did. And it was basically a snooze fest. Who cares? Bush v. Gore. The only reason that anyone talked about that election is because the Florida Supreme Court had to weigh in. It had nothing to do with the candidates. They were both a couple of boring bastards, actually. Bush was boring. Gore was boring, arguably more boring. And so Bush wins in a squeaker because of the Florida Supreme Court. Fast forward to 2004. Bush v. Kerry. God damn, it doesn't matter who wins. They're the same person, basically. John Kerry is just the more droll version of George W. At least with W, he'll say something zany once in a while. He'll be entertaining. Basically like a minstrel show or something like that. Fast forward to 2008. It was so predictable that Obama was going to win. It was impossible for Obama to lose against somebody like John McCain. Thank goodness that he did, by the way. It didn't matter who won on most metrics, but with foreign policy, yes. Obama with the neocon, neolib, unipartyist platform was better than war-happy John McCain. Fast forward to 2012. Obama v. Romney. Yeah, Team Obama on that one. I decided to sit it out and vote Ron Paul myself, but the writing was on the wall. Mitt Romney, much like John McCain, towards the end of the stretch, barely campaigned at all. He was almost a no-show. Nobody cared about it. This is one for the record books. Other than 2016 and 2020, really we've had a slurry of elections where it was like no choice 2004, no choice 2008. The candidates are basically the same. They express the same opinions. It's clear who's going to win and who's going to lose, but it doesn't really matter in the end. In 2016, it was meaningful. We had Donald Trump saying, don't start World War III, and we had Hillary Clinton saying, yeah, bomb them. Hey, I've got a vagina, but I can have a big dick like you all. And I've got the atomic weapons. Yeah, I'm going to prove that I can do the same thing that the big boys do. I've got hot sauce in the handbag, so to speak. That was meaningful. It meant something when we voted in that election. 2020, our votes were effectively ignored because of ballot printers going burr, because of fortification, but it was still a meaningful election. I would say that this one is even more meaningful than either of those. We've seen what a Biden administration can do. Massive inflation, ignoring the border, pretending to care about it for election reasons, but really doing nothing in the end. Higher crime, etc., etc., etc. We've seen what a Biden administration will do. We also know what a Trump administration will do. Ultimately, voters are going to have to choose between two technically incumbent administrations. This ties into what I said the other day with Alan Lichtman, with his prediction that Biden would win. Well, he's got a plausibility there now, doesn't he? He can always say that if Donald Trump manages to win, well, I didn't factor in the quasi-incumbency because he was a former president. I've not had to register that within my system before. We'll have to adjust the 13 keys. I have a feeling that Donald Trump will win re-election. I have a feeling that it won't even be close, actually. I'm increasingly believing that it's going to be a lot larger a margin than 2016. He might even win the popular vote. I think that'd be good for our nation, by the way. It's the ultimate presidential race, though. We're talking about a choice between the uniparty and its corruption and all the other problems attendant to it. And having a dissident, it's messy, it's dirty, it's not necessarily fun at all times, but having someone who is genuinely outside of that sort of political complex, who is willing to tear things apart. Well, I'm Team Trump. Yeah, I don't like the current political complex. It's not working for me. Christ, when I go to the grocery store and I buy pickles, and I really fucking love pickles, I'm thankfully that I can make my own, but Jesus Christ, you know, you can't make your own in the middle of winter. You're paying through the nose. I don't want to have to shop at Walmart to get my pickles. That's the long and short of it, so yes, it's Team Trump for me. It's the ultimate presidential race in the sense that we're being offered a choice between the establishment, the status quo, the way that things currently are, and the way that things could be. Now, you may look at that and you may say, well, I have no problem with the status quo. Very well. You're a NIMBYist, probably. You may say, well, I don't like that much change. It's problematic. I would tell you this. Historically speaking, under stressful political situations, if you don't take the small amount of change that you're being offered, which is what Trump offers, he doesn't offer an entire overhaul of the system. He offers a mild reform of the system, just as he did in 2016 and 2020. If you reject that, what you end up with is much more change. So if you're uncomfortable with change, swallow the goddamn pride, vote for Donald Trump, take your lumps, because there will be a few, skid marks on the road, there will be a few potholes. But that's the best thing to do in the end. Otherwise, you get more drastic reform, and that can be much more messy. Trump is offering you a soft reset to a few decades ago. He's offering you a soft reset to the Reagan-Nixon era, okay? That's not ancient memory. I can remember it pretty good. Many of you can remember it. You're about my same age, probably, most of you. A little bit older, a little bit younger. But we can at least remember the Clinton administration, generally speaking. Things were simply calmer then. And you had the mean tweets. You just didn't have Twitter. That's about all. Peace out.